A Change of Treatment by W. W. Jacobs for the 1903 collection. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Matt Perard. A Change of Treatment by W. W. Jacobs from Many Cargoes. "Yes, I've sailed under some cute skippers in my time," said the night watchman. "Them that go down in big ships see the wonders of the deep, you know," he added with a sudden chuckle. "But the one I'm going to tell you about ought never to have been trusted out without 'is ma. A good many of my skippers had fads, but this one was the worst I ever sailed under. It's some years ago now. I'd shipped on his bark, the John Elliot, as slow going an old tub as ever I was aboard of, when I wasn't in quite a fit and proper state to know what I was doing, and I hadn't been in her 2 days afore I found out his 'obby through overhearing a few remarks made by the second mate, who came up from the dinner in a hurry to make 'em. 'I don't mind saws and knives hung round the cabin,' he says to the fust mate, 'but when a chap has a human and alongside his plate, studyin' it while folks is at their food, it's more than a Christian man can stand.' 'That's nothin',' says the fust mate, who had sailed with the bark afore. 'He's half crazy on doctorin'. We nearly had a mutiny aboard once, owin' to his wantin' to hold a post mortem on a man what fell from the masthead. Wanted to see what the poor feller died of.' 'I call it unwholesome,' says the second mate, very savage. 'He offered me a pill at breakfast the size of a small marble. Quite put me off my feed, it did.' Of course the skipper's fad soon got known for'ard, but I didn't think much about it, till one day I seed old Dan'l Dennis sittin' on a locker readin'. Every now and then he'd shut the book, and look up, closin' his eyes, and movin' his lips like a hen drinkin', and then look down at the book again. 'Why, Dan,' I says, 'what's up? You ain't learnin' lessons at your time o' life.' 'Yes, I am,' says Dan, very soft. 'You might hear me say it. It's this one about heart disease.' He hands over the book, which was stuck full o' all kinds of diseases, and winks at me 'ard. 'Picked it up on a book stall,' he says. Then he shut his eyes and said his piece wonderful. It made me quite queer to listen to him. 'That's how I feel,' says he, when he finished. 'Just strength enough to get to bed. Lend a hand, Bill, and go and fetch the doctor.' Then I see his little game, but I wasn't going to run any risks, so I just mentioned, permiscus like, to the cook, as old Dan seemed rather queer, and went back and tried to borrer the book, being always fond of reading. Old Dan pretended he was too ill to hear what I was saying, and afore I could take it away from him, the skipper comes hurryin' down with a bag in his hand. 'What's the matter, my man?' says he. 'What's the matter?' 'I'm all right, sir,' says old Dan, ''cept that I've been swounding away a little.' 'Tell me exactly how you feel,' says the skipper, feeling his pulse. Then old Dan set his piece over to him, and the skipper shook his head and looked very solemn. 'How long have you been like this?' he says. '4 or 5 years, sir,' says Dan. 'It ain't nothing serious, sir, is it?' 'You lie quite still,' says the skipper, putting a little trumpet thing to his chest and then listening. 'There's serious mischief here, I'm afraid. The prognotice is very bad.' 'What, sir?' says Dan, staring. 'Prognotice,' says the skipper. 'At least I think that's the word he said. You keep perfectly still and I'll go and mix you up a draught and tell the cook to get some strong beef tea on.' Well, the skipper had no sooner gone than Cornish Harry, a great big lumbering chap o' 6 feet,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?